If you've ever asked Santa for a new offensive coordinator in September, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back for another episode of Live Trading. Hope you all had a great weekend. Monday is here. The market is back. 13's back. I'm back, and we're going to get it. You know what to do.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning, folks, and happy Monday. As I mentioned, hope you all had a great weekend, but it is time to get back to the market. Great to have everyone back. We're going to go ahead and bring on 13. 13, welcome back. How was your weekend? And are you ready for today?
I'm ready for today. My weekend felt a little short, but that's fine. Short weekends, long weekends, doesn't matter. I got some time off. Let's get back to the market.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Every time football season starts, the weekends just somehow feel a little too short. You kind of wish that there was a little bit more
Time flies
on those weekends. But we're fortunate though, because we are market degenerates. I use that term endearingly, and we are addicted to the market. So Monday mornings when the market opens, always a good time. I'm ready to go. I am certainly ready to go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. Good morning. Lots of good energy here from the chat. You absolutely love to see that. Federico, welcome back. Richard, Edward, Obaldi, sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly. Charles, AC2000, Austin, Carmen, Gerald, Beachbum, Fairchild, Replay, Tom, Alex, Shaka, Franz, Beachbum Trading, Elon. Oh, man. Great to have you all back. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market. We are going to start with the SPY here. And I think the big takeaway here is we did end up breaking this triple top last week. Now, the action here today, it actually kind of looks like it back tested this level here, right? So if we just kind of eyeball this here, we broke above. It kind of looks like it back tested it. So 13 and I were just talking before we start here. For me, more upside, a break of this 572.88 level. That is going to be the high of the candle from Thursday. A breakdown, maybe if we lose this breakout period, I have that at about 565 and change. Maybe let's call that 565 to 566, that entire area there. If that breaks down, maybe we can come back in. But I don't necessarily have a kind of prediction either way. I'm not positioned for the market breaking out or breaking down. I don't have any of those ETFs. Majority of my holdings here are going to be some of the small cap holdings, which have been doing pretty well recently. So I'm not really positioned for this. I'm just going to kind of react to all this stuff. 13, what do you think here on the broader market?
It looks to me like 570 is going to be a level that may end up getting tested today. It's just a psych level, even number, the drill. As far as downside goes, what was interesting about on Friday is that we came down almost to the previous all-time high of 565.16. That was the all-time high that we had since July, the middle of July, and have been trying to break above it ever since then. So getting that breakout above that level last week kind of made that entire level since July now a support. So we got that support test, and that's what I'm going to be looking at, that particular level at 565.16 as further support. Should we trade back down there? If we start to lose that, then that would probably be a lot more bearish than maybe any of us could think. But it's I want to see it see what happens if we do lose that level. I want to see what happens over the following days for confirmation. But that's basically the upside and downside of it. 570 going to be resistance, and of course we have that current all-time high of 572.88. To the downside is going to be other previous all-time high levels, but that one that's important that I'm watching for is that 565.16.
Okay, really good stuff. And actually, this 15-minute chart here gives you a really good idea of this range that we're kind of waiting for the SPY to break out of. Here is that low that you mentioned, 565.15. I have it here as 17, but that is exactly the same. And then the upside of that range right up here. We're pretty much smack dab in the middle of that 13. So I think this is pretty good. This gives us kind of a good plan. If we break out from this, we know what to do. If we break down from this, we know what to do. Curious to see what stocks you folks are going to be trading. Are you going to be trading the SPY or the futures or some of the ETFs that mimic these or follow these? Or are you going to be trading individual names, right? Do we go to, I guess we could take a quick look through a few of these. Are you going to go ahead and trade Nvidia again? Here is Nvidia. This actually looks like it's kind of trading with the market, right? We've made recent lows at about the same time that the market did, and the highs are pretty much the same thing. So you're going to be trading some of these individual names. Are you going to be trading the market or its proxies? How are you going to capture the movement here today?
You know, when it comes to Nvidia, we're still kind of riding along the line of 117, which has been a pretty important support and resistance level. So I want to see some movement away from that 117 level, and that's going to be a breakout of that trend line that we put on Nvidia that the price has been bumping its head up against. So that would be a breakout if we move to the upside away from 117. Otherwise, it's going to be the 200-day SMA that we'd be looking towards if we start to break down away from that line. So I think 117 still a very important level. We need to see some movement away from that. I'm just not exactly sure which direction right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're actually currently right above the 50-day on Nvidia. If you look at the daily chart here, we have this compressing triangle. Eventually, we are going to break out of this. That, to me, is going to be the trade. And I agree with you on that 200-day if we do break down. I've got that at 92.81. So if we do break away from this to the downside, that actually gives us a pretty good target. I know that there were a lot of people in this channel alone that were looking for a price under 100 on Nvidia to re-long it. So we'll see what type of buying appetite this has if we do make a move towards that 200-day. Really good stuff there. One more thing I wanted to mention before we hit the movers here is going to be Apple. Apple, we also have a trend line here that I had plopped on recently. It looked like we were going to try and break that last week, but we got some spooky actions, if you will, right at the close on Friday. Didn't really see any news on this, but Apple, after having a great day, really just kind of sold back to its pre-market or its after-hours consolidation area. We're actually drifting lower here today, so I'm curious to see if Apple continues to trade down here today or if we bounce. Jay Rice, appreciate the heads up here. Dan Ives will be on CNBC at 10 a.m. to talk Apple iPhone sales. Barclays is cautious. Dan Ives here, I believe, of Wedbush. They are positive, right? So this is what makes a market. Let's see. First weekend here, we got a news print here this morning. First weekend of first weekend of iPhone 16 sales seen as, quote, bullish start, end quote, for Apple. That came from Wedbush. That is going to be Dan Ives. So we're not surprised to hear Dan Ives talk positively on Apple when he gets on CNBC. Really, the question for me is going to be, how does this stock actually trade? Of course, I own Apple long-term, no short-term positions, but would not be opposed to trading this here today if we get some action. Okay. Anthony was mentioning on Apple, 11 million share sell at the close. So do they know something? Is there any continuation here? The next one the question for me here is, what's next on Apple? And we actually might get some good trading out of that. Okay, 13. Let's go ahead and break down those movers, and then we'll take any tickers that the chat wants. Looks like someone already wants to talk about GME. We can do that.
What about
but let's
Kavl?
get these movers out of the way first. Which one? Sorry?
Kavl, Kavl. This is when we traded before. This is moving on a merger news.
Okay, really good stuff there. I saw Smoke Tuna shout this out here. 13, when you and I were in the pre-show fist fight doing the kind of rundown here, Kavl was not yet moving.
Yep.
So this is Henry Kavl. I think you endearingly call this. This is one that we've traded before a whole bunch. This was a penny stock, has now moved to dollar territory. Kavl Brands Innovations Group shares are trading higher after the company and Delta. Is that the flight, the airline? Delta Core Holdings? I don't know. Is that what it is?
You know, I would think it would be if we would get those tickers to show up in the same news feed, but it's just Kavl, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay. We'll check that one out. Looks like this is going here. Delta publicly traded asset-light logistics company valued at $690 million in revenue.
Yeah, Delta Corp Holdings is a privately held holding company for global businesses engaged in bulk and energy logistics, fuel supply, commodities, and asset management. So not the same delta we're thinking of.
Yeah, not the same delta. Okay, really quickly. Jay Summers, I was actually wondering if anyone is going to get this. Spooky actions at a distance is actually what we're talking about here. It's, of course, what Einstein famously said of quantum entanglement. I'm with you on all that stuff. This is like a huge thing on the side for me that I read about and very much love. So I'm going to shout out a lot of these comments.
Look at that.
Glad that you picked up on that. Sorry about that, 13.
No. Look at the 902 news. It's saying that the transaction be completed at a 359% premium to Kavl brands, if that's how you pronounce it. Current stock price translating into an implied price per share of 266. Right now we're at 137. Unless I'm reading this wrong, I think this is saying that Kavl's going to go to 266 on this merger. So there could be some more meat left on this bone if that's the case.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll see if this gives us a trade here. Really good stuff. Like I said, this really just happened.
Yep.
Right as we were live here. So some really
great shout out.
So yeah, some real fresh stuff here. No one is surprised to hear that Smoke Tuna is on top of it. Smoke Tuna, look, I don't know what to say either. I understand Joel just went to France and did not meet up with you. I have no defense for that. I'm sorry. If that were me, I for sure would have had a cup of coffee at a cafe and meet the one and only legendary Smoke Tuna. I don't know what Joel was thinking. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, let's keep moving through some of these movers here. Next one here is going to be Nvve, which is one that we've traded before. I didn't see any news on this. However, it seems like there was a recent reverse split.
Yes.
On Nvve. So here we go. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at that float. This one fitting into our what do we call it?
Recompliance.
Yeah, we kind of identified this last. What do we call this? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here on a Monday morning. All I have is football terms flying around my head. This little basket of these things that we've kind of discovered that are making these stocks move. Looks like this one fits it again. 530K in the float. Ultra low float here. Recent reverse split. This one was a 1-for-10 reverse split that happened on the 17th of September. So this prime to go. We'll see if this one rips. It's up 86% here today. Some of these have been 100% rippers that end up going to 200 and 300% rippers. We'll see if this is in that same basket. The trading action here in the pre-market, volume pops, big volume candles, higher lows on the price. We're actually building above VWAP. All of this stuff looks good. No position going into the open. I'll reassess right at the opening print. But that's what's going on here. Nvve 13. Do you have anything else on this?
You pretty much covered everything. The only thing I would point out is if you look at the daily chart, you can see just how the market reacted to that reverse split news because that was a high volume day. Didn't really get that relative volume the following day, though. And now here we are putting in some more price action. If we start to move up, though, or what we've already had, but if we move up further is what I mean. I'd be looking at, let's say about $9 seems to be the next level where there's a decent price of resistance. I'm sorry, different particular level of resistance. Now, as far as the day goes for when we did get that reverse split news, we went as high as 760. And we're slightly underneath that right now. I think we even traded up to that in the pre-market. Yeah, we went past that. So that's going to be one level to watch for as we move up. And then we have 875 in the pre-market. And then, of course, 9. So that would be the upside levels I would be watching for in Nvve.
Yeah, and the other thing you can watch here is going to be the volume, right? We did not totally eclipse that volume from that, what was that, September 18th. So we'll see if we're able to get above that here. But that's what's going on here in the pre-market. Like I said, we saw a couple of these last week with GLMD and PTRG, Portage. We saw a couple of these last week. So let's at least keep this on the watch list. Okay, next one here is a penny stock that went to dollar territory. So there's got to be a couple of folks in here that are really kind of onto this one. This is going to be TGL, Treasure Global. This popped on Friday in the after hour session. It almost round tripped the entire move here in the pre-market and then traded back up towards that high this morning. So 120 definitely going to be an upside level. I, of course, am going to watch the $1 level. We have the VWAP here at 104. We'll see if that ends up giving us a trade. I will say, since for a majority of the pre-market here, at least the most recent majority of the pre-market, we are making higher highs and higher lows. So pretty good formation here. Decent volume. We'll see if this carries into the regular session and gives us a setup on TGL. 13, did you have anything that you wanted to cover on this one?
Yeah, if you pull up that chart, you can see that in the after hours on Friday, we were starting this run, and that was on news of a partnership with Credilab. The company has 1.47 million shares in the float, and they did a reverse split much earlier this year on the 27th of February. It was a 1-for-70. So they don't really need to do any more reverse splits at this particular point, but they are going to need cash. Looked at their balance sheet. They have about, I think, 1 quarter left of runway, and then, or maybe not even that much. And so I would be careful with this one. They are going to need to make an offering at some point. I just don't think they'll be reverse splitting soon. They'll probably do the offering first. So just something to keep in mind with this one. Don't get caught in it, but it's getting some attention. So if it's moving, we're going to be trading it.
Yeah, I just want to put this one on your radar. Honestly, given some of the other ones that we have on the list here, this would probably be a 4th or 5th option that I would target. I think that there are some better plays, but know what's going on here. Keep it on your watch list. 120, clearly the upside level to watch here. Okay. Next is going to be Vtyyx. We got a couple in here that are all kind of shifting around. We're going to get through these 3, and then we're going to go back to with the other stocks that you folks want to take a look at. Vtyyx, this is Vtyyx Biosciences. Vtyyx Biosciences shares are trading higher after the company announced a $27 million investment from Sanofi. This did pop above 320. It's retraced that move. It is holding in here. The volume's really compressing, but if that volume starts to expand again, I could see a punch through the VWAP here, which is only 10 cents away, and then maybe a move towards 3. And then what do we have here as the actual high here? I've got that at 330. Okay, so upside levels here, 279, 330. We'll see if this can go here with Vtyyx. 60 million shares in the float, so not one of the low float stocks that we've taken a look at here before. 13, did you want to cover any of the anything on this one?
This wasn't on my radar, so just taking a look at it, it's moving on the announcement of a $27 million dollar investment from Sanofi. They do have a short interest of 14.18% with 5.85 days of cover, so we are seeing some squeezing action happening here. They did have some good data earlier this month on phase 2A trials, so there is going to be a phase 2B as well. Now, if we look at the cash balance here, it seems that they have just under 41 million on the balance sheet, and they burn about 32 million a quarter. So that 27 million couldn't have come at a more opportune time.
Yeah, really good stuff there. We'll see what Vtyyx gives us here today. Hello, good morning, Amanda. Hopefully you are successfully over your bout with COVID. I know that Packers dub yesterday, which also won me money since I bet on it, also probably helped you get over that. We are looking for a sweet week here today. Happy Monday. Good morning. It's good to see you. Next, we're going to move along here is going to be CTOR. Okay, this is Citus Oncology. Looks like a few of you are already on this one here this morning. This did pop here a little bit. The volume is kind of getting jiggy. We popped on Friday as well, though we really didn't do a whole lot when the regular session opened. We're right at the VWAP here on this one. I don't have a float reading on this. What do you got? You got anything on this one, 13?
This wasn't on my radar either. I was watching Bdtx. I was going to cover that one next. I'd have to look a little bit more into this.
No problem. We can go to Bdtx.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of information here on this one. Is this like a new issue?
There was no news. There was no fresh news on this. It just did something on Friday and kind of came back in.
It looks like this might have been a SPAC at one point. It's just got that $10 sideways action for years, and then we got this sudden pop in last month. So we have no float reading here, but there is no try mentioning that this is a 350K float. If that's the case, this thing could go crazy here today. Yeah. There is no try. I totally understand how float readings can vary a lot. We've seen this over the course of trying to pin that data point down. I would like to know where you got that from. Tennessee. Perfect. Yep.
Check this out. Ctor is a paid pumping campaign. It was a SPAC. It's a CTXR spinoff. Appreciate this stuff. All of this information can be very, very helpful. Just kind of knowing what's behind this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to call you TT, Tennessee Tomodachi. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm going to call you TT here. Really good stuff. Appreciate you. Smoke Tuna also saying that this one is risky, which is pretty much what TT was just kind of saying there. So, okay, good stuff. BDX, I'm just not even going to go into this since I kind of talked over you. What do you got here, 13?
Yeah, so they just had their phase 2 data come out. Let me just pull this up real quick. They have a 33.5 million share float. So this is going to be on the heavier side. I don't know that we're going to see the most robust movement out of this, but it could still give some pops throughout the day. We've talked about how these can these larger float ones can have some intermittent movement, but then as soon as that slows down, then it can start to leak. This one has a 18% short interest with 9.32 days to cover. So even though that has that low float, it still can move really well with that kind of squeezing action. It has enough cash for their phase 3. I'm sorry, it doesn't have enough cash for their phase 3. So they are going to have to raise cash at some point for their next step of the trial that they're going through with their Bdtx 1535 drug that they're testing. But other than that, that's what I've got for BDTX. If it provides some price action that we're looking for, which seeing right now it's coming off of selling off in the pre-market, we might be able to capture some good movement to the upside after the open. So that's BDTX that we'll be watching here. Yep,
and really well done there, 13. Watch this one as it's really retraced this move. If it holds here, this could be a potential pop and a move back to VWAP, which could give you a scalp. If you're able to take a decent amount there, maybe trim some of that at VWAP if we do get that move and hold one for a runner in case we get that. So all types of movement that we've seen here before that could be applied to the stock here as well. Okay, that's it for pretty much for the movers. We can go ahead and take a look at some of the other stocks. I know we kind of took a look at Apple here. Let me get the chart back up here on Apple. There were a couple of other that people were looking for.
Yeah, real quick on Wheeler. This thing moving again, and it could be doing this a whole bunch for a while because this has a pretty high short interest. So it's a 32% on this one. It does have 1.6 days, so it's going to cover that pretty quick. But it also has a very low float. Low float, high short interest. This thing will get moving regardless if there's news or not. So I think that's what we're seeing here is that it's just getting pushed around again.
Sorry to leave you hanging. That was perfect timing as I had to go grab my tea so I can be ready for the open here. Okay, good stuff there on Wheeler. What else did you folks want to take a look at? There was one in here. Oh, I wanted to take a look at one. Jay, I saw that you were mentioning the uranium plays again. So CCJ here. This actually looks like this has got some more. And if we take a look at the daily here, we're actually setting up for a potential 200-day reclaim on CCJ. I do kind of like this today. I'm going to look into options on this name. We'll see. But I do kind of really like this. Given the news that we've had and some of the performance of some of these names recently, if this captures the 200-day, I really do think we might even be able to make a run at 50. So, Jay, I saw that you had brought this one up earlier. LEU, CCJ, 2 uranium names, both trade at 45. You're mentioning that LEU here makes a lot more. I still kind of like this one. Let me take a look at LEU and see where we're at on the chart. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. LEU. Awesome, Jay. Awesome mention. We did just recapture the 200-day. So let's see if we get any types of swing longs in these. Really, really good stuff here. Really, really good stuff here. Okay. What else do we want to take a look at?
Folks were asking about Lunar.
Lunar. Okay.
And let's take a look at that because, we got the news of them earning the contracts and they really started moving after that. We do have a golden cross on Lunar on the daily chart that we got as a result of the NASA news. But as I've said before, with sometimes when you see these frequent crossings of the 15 to 200 when they're intermittent like that, I don't lend a whole lot of credibility to that kind of movement. So we're going to want to see this hold above the 500-day SMA, in my opinion. That's what we need to do in order to continue the upside. I think there should be still more here in this. I mean, like I think somebody said they were holding a bag in this one. I don't know how much of a bag. This hasn't come down too much off of the highs we just made, unless you were buying, back in March of last year. I still think this has a lot more further up to go. I just can't say exactly when we're going to see that. It's been very headline driven lately, but that news with the 4.3 billion contract with NASA, that's going to help lift it further. I just think we're going to see some cooling off a little bit, because this is overbought, and we should see the price come down a little bit. But I want to see it hold that 500-day SMA. Okay.
Really good stuff there. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention here is going to be ticker SEZL. This is Szl. This is one that Tim Melvin, gave as a momentum play last week. This actually looking like this might take off here again. Szl price target raised to 185 from 150 at Northland this morning. So getting another price target raise here. Tim Melvin really kind of hitting that on the momentum name. If you're trading this one based off his call, just remember we are pretty extended from some of these moving averages. The momentum trade, when that momentum dies off, you should not be in that trade anymore. So if we get some more here, just remember, if the momentum starts to die off in these names, take gains. But it looks like Szl, SEZL, wants to trade up a little bit more. Okay, a number of people mentioning GLMD. This was a big runner from last week, so I guess it's worth mentioning. Really kind of flagging here. Don't really see anything new going on. Volume is pathetic. This is definitely a no touch, no trade unless something happens here. Actually, now I'm kind of puzzled as to why folks are bringing it up this morning, as there's nothing going on here. We would want to see some volume or some news come into GLMD. The pre-market here is a ghost town. Okay.
Yeah, and they had some news on Friday that might be worth taking into consideration. You have Masaya Otsuka that reported almost 10% stake in the company through a 13G filing, and the company is also calling for a capital increase vote. So that's likely going to mean that they have to make an offer and raise cash. So yeah, like Ryan said, be very, very careful with this one. Unless it starts making some good price action, I don't think there's really a whole lot here.
Yeah, and that little movement that we got there on Friday looks to encompass that news that we got, and really nothing's happened since then. So, all right, we're getting ready to open here. Good luck, everybody. I'm going to flip over to my main workspace. Shout out to the dev team here. Released a new version of Benzinga Pro last week. That is awesome, and it has been working a lot better. So here we go, folks. Good luck to everyone out there. Let me know what you're trading, especially right off the open here. Curious.
SMCI, how low today? Guess we haven't had that recovery yet that I was looking for. I thought they were going to release
your bell, folks.
Yep.
Sorry,
I thought we were going to get no worries. I thought we were going to get the their report released when they last week, but they never did that. So that's not good for SMCI. What's moving out of the gate here? Nvve, not really sure what it wants to do.
Let's take a look at Kavl here. So Kavl is up near the top end of its range. It is above the VWAP. We'll see here on Kavl.
All right. It looks like it wants to take out 150. That's the 149 is the pre-market high. So 150 is going to be the target that's trying to go for and break above. Currently above VWAP, but it's coming back down to it. Let's see if it holds.
All right, that's on Kavl, I'm assuming. Vtyyx getting shouted by Tuna. We'll take a look at a couple of these movers really early on. Vtyyx looks like it went right to that VWAP and rejected there. That volume stick encouraging off the open, but straight up rejected at that VWAP. Nvve also getting a mention here. That one also popping. Let's see if it pops out of the range here on Nvve.
Yep, trying to get through 775. If it does, we'd be looking at 825.
Okay.
And then
go ahead.
No, that's it.
Bob was asking about SMCI. A little bit of a low value move here, but higher. Looks like some of those tech names here are higher. Looks like Amazon's a bit higher. Tesla ripping off the opening print here. So Tesla, big power candle right off the VWAP there. Good move. Jay's mentioning that the IWM fading here, not what we want to see for small caps. We'll see if that starts to get a little bit more pronounced.
Tesla trying to fill that gap on July 23rd. The low that I have there is 245.63.
That is
So we're almost
exactly
there.
right. Yep, exactly right. 13. Great call on that one. Nvve, we'll see if that breaks out of its motion. Poet, this going well here. Looks like Lassie, L-A-S-E, getting mentioned in the chat as well. We can check that out here. Nice little rip out of the gate. Remember, this company has commercials running on CNBC every single day. Every single day. A-I-L-E getting mentioned here in the chat. This is iLearning. We talked about this one last week.
Kavl halted.
Kavl is halted. Interesting. Let me get my, let me refresh my halt tool here. Stay on top of that.
Vtyyx went lower than it came back to start. So now it's trying to choose a direction to go.
Looks like it held 260 here so far, Vtyyx.
Bdtx.
Looks like it's straight up rejected by that VWAP.
Yeah, Bdtx headed lower, had that bounce in pre-market, and then as soon as we opened, lower we went. And this may go as low as probably in the 460s. We'll see if we get that price action, and if it gets some support there as well.
Okay, SPY coming in here. Apple actually breaking lower here. Amazon trading lower here. Tesla in from its highs, but Tesla still outperforming and doing the best. GLMD getting a mention here. Is it going to make me look dumb? Just said we needed to wait for this to have something here. We're getting a little bit more volume, but it's not crazy yet. We did trade up out of the open. I don't know. Do you trust this move? I personally don't think this move is viable. You guys tell me. I'd be happy to hear the other side of that.
If it provides a trade it. Just be careful with this one. Put your stops out there. Don't get killed in these things.
Interesting note here for anyone that was still in this lotto ticket, MCRB. This is one that we talked about, potential buyout deal with Nestle. This is actually trading higher here today. So I don't know if this is going to really go for a merger and acquisition. Pretty decent formation here on the daily. See if we can get up to 150 here. MCRB, our lotto ticket. This one is moving higher here.
Nvve also moving higher, coming up to the pre-market highs.
TGL at that 120 potential breakout spot. Here is Nvve 13.
Great movement from TGL after getting support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Bdtx getting down into that area we were talking about. 490 is the current low, the regular session. We're looking for the 460s, and that will provide support there. So
real quick, that 65 EMA. So I went ahead and added this to my chart. It's very difficult to see on this one. It's going to be the orange line here, folks. So it did get support, just like 13 said, a little bit more difficult to see. I'll see if I can bring this up for the visual aid here today. I feel like that would help us in terms of how we're trading some of these names. So we'll see. See how it goes there.
Looks like Micron is getting a mention, and it's also getting some movement this morning as well.
Okay.
3.5%. Looks like it sort of created a double bottom here on the daily chart, and coming up to test the 50-day SMA. Now, the concerning thing with this one is that it does have a death cross here that occurred back on Friday the 13th, wouldn't you know? And that is not a good sign. So if we do not get a recapture of the 50, then that probably means we're going to start to lose the 20 again at some point soon.
Micron, definitely a nice little move out of the open there.
Yeah. So I'd be careful.
Sorry.
I was just going to mention with Micron, watch for a rejection at the 50-day SMA. I think that's what could end up happening with this one. So we'll see.
TGL here looks like it did break out of that pre-market. TGL volume looks good here. This does look like it's trying to go higher. Kavl, we're still halted here. This to the downside at 130. Yikes on Kavl. We didn't want that, did we? Vtyyx just kind of rolled over out of the open. Ctor is a little bit lower. We talked about that one as well.
Summit, got to mention, that popped out of the gate here, went to 25.50, and now it looks like it's trying to flag. As long as it holds VWAP, there's probably still be some more upside in this one, but I little bit cautious about this one. We already traded this one once and had a great time with it. BDTX halted to the downside. So this halted down right to the, what is this? The after hours low of 462. So this is in the area we want to see. If it, once this on the halts, let's see what it does. If it does, if it rebounds or not.
Smoke Tuna looks like you're doing Vtyyx here on this little bit of a dip. That's interesting. Hopefully that works out for you. Here's that BDTX chart, man. All I see here is red. Red, red, red. In the pre-market, it gave everything up, hardly any bounces right from the opening, nothing but red price candles on the 1 minute chart, nothing but red volume sticks here. As far as I'm concerned, you could wait this one out, folks.
Kavl's
open.
Yep. Currently beneath VWAP, but it looks like it's trying to recapture. Let's be careful. It hasn't had a really big move in pre-market, so we're already up here at the top of the movement. And we could lose a little bit before it tries to grind higher.
Real quick, Will's mentioning Pltr here. I know that this is a popular one on our show. No new trade for me on Pltr. Remember, though, December butterfly with the body at 45. So basically, this is a swing long opportunity. We're waiting for $45 as the potential price here. It's now added to the S&P. Today is the first day that it is trading as an S&P 500 stock. We are expecting funds to maybe buy this over the next several. You tell me. I am long here looking for 45 by December. No new trades here today. Pltr, though, right out of the open. Red to green move here on Pltr.
Another stock that's getting a lot of movement that we've been talking a lot about is Zim. Zim up this morning.
Okay.
And that's had a nice rebound off of the 16 handle. And has been going up almost every day. So at this point, I'm kind of curious to see if this is going to negate the triple top that it put in by getting up to 2383 times and reversing. And we're starting to, it looks like it's starting to break that formation. So not too far away. Another $2.40 before this is in higher territory.
Okay, Zim, this was a good call. Zim and Zers. Oh, thinking about it, just out here spicy this morning. This is a really, really decent rip here off the open. This was up in the pre-market, but on low volume. Shame on me. This kept going. This kept going. Okay, couple of stocks that you folks are calling Nvve. We are still, look at this. We are about to break that pre-market high. This thing has been strong so far. No position for me on this one. Yet. Actually, at this point here, let me hide some of these moving averages, throw up the VWAP. At this point, this trade's easy for me, folks. I know it's ripping right now. I look like a dumbass not being in it, but this needs to pull back here to the VWAP. Here we go.
There's the pull.
A little bit of a pull. We got a truck outside here. Oh, looks like someone ordered some lumber. Something's getting built, folks. Okay, a couple of things here. Apple looks like this is turned around. Oops, that's not what I typed in. Here you go on Apple. Let's see if we can actually move through 228. I did take a little bit of this for a day trade.
TGTL popped to 131, came back in. Now it's trying to go back up.
Here is your TGTL. This is above the after hours highs. This looking pretty good. Vtyyx got eyeballs on it. Looks like this is bouncing again from the pre-market support level, 253. That was a good ad for anyone that was in there. Tuna, was this you buying at this support level in here? That was pretty good.
Nice. There's no try on LASC.
CCJ, look at the dip and rip here. Darn, nice. There was too much stuff moving here. We had this one flagged. LEU is the other one that we were mentioning. Jay, I know that you were holding this one. Be curious to know if you're making any new trades on these names. LEU up 5.5% here, 6% now. LEU. Wow. These names moving here. Kavl, let's see if this can take out its VWAP. Jay trimmed some of his LEU again, already in that. Jay, you know what? We're going to start Monday off with a register ring here. You've been all over that one. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. There is no try. Snagging some money from Lassie, one of those day traders. You love to see it. You just love to see it.
Yeah. Summit just absolutely falling down here. Lost VWAP, trying to claim it.
Kavl looks like it did. We just get, yep, we just went through that VWAP there on Kavl.
And what else we got going on here? TGL still
Let's
trying
see
to
if Kavl pops 136 here. This could go higher, folks, on Kavl. Nope, they pulled it off that spot. And actually, they're bringing in offers now on Kavl. Look out. Up. Right back on it. Okay, what do we got here on Kavl? Who's trading Kavl? Are we going to go towards the highs here? Who's on this one? 141 looks to be the next spot. There's a little bit of size there.
Oh, TGL is really knifing now. Bdtx open.
Okay, let me go to Bdtx. Kavl may be going. Let me know if anyone took Kavl. I'm still a little scalped. Here is Bdtx bouncing off the bottom there.
Yeah, let's see if that reverses and goes back to VWAP.
Vtyyx off that 250 pre-market support right back to the VWAP. Again, this is the second VWAP test. It could not get above it. Hopefully you sold there, or at least partial. Kavl's going to get halted to the upside.
Nice.
I think Kavl's going to get halted to the upside here. 146.
Yep, it did. And TGL is also halted, but that's to the downside.
Okay, nice job there. Day trading on Kavl, guys. This volume expansion into the halt above the key level. We're right here at this 150 pre-market level. I think that this probably pops out of the gate. This was a really good one. Really good one there on Kavl. We'll see if this works out. Good morning, Judge. Judge, how about Malik Neighbors? How about Malik? That dude looks like he can play single-handedly, carrying the Giants to a victory on the weekend. That dude is a stud.
And Singletary still managed to get a touchdown. All right, Nvve. Looks like this is trying to recapture VWAP.
Here is your Nvve. Will, I am positioned long swing in PLTR using a butterfly, and the body of the butterfly is the December 45. Okay, so it is December expiry, 45 strike. I want Palantir to move to 45. That is when my butterfly will be in the most profit. That is the thesis for my trade here.
Well done, Smoke Tuna. He's out Vtyyx.
Okay, awesome job there. We actually were taking a look at that one. Let me put it on screen here. Easy for me. I don't know why I'm fumbling over my words here today, 13. I'm sorry about that.
I've been doing the same thing.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday, and it's not a victory Monday for me, unfortunately.
It's a mumble Monday.
Mumble Monday. Vtyyx here. This actually might try to. Let's see if it's get a little bit stronger if it moves through its VWAP this time. By the way, we talked about Tesla earlier ripping off the gate. Here is your Tesla chart. This continuing to trade up here. Oh, what happened with my chart there?
So here we go with Nvve.
Look at Tesla. Going to bring up Nvve.
Yep. Looks like this one has a bit of a wall to break through at 850. There that goes. Great stuff on this one.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not in this one either. Good stuff.
I was looking at how it was trading around VWAP, and you see there's a lower wicks there trying to stay. It's been trying to stay above VWAP, so I was picking some of it up as it was going underneath VWAP.
Okay, stay focused. Good morning, happy Monday. Malik Neighbors needs to be in those State Farm commercials. Look, Malik Neighbors needs to be all over the place. That dude can ball, and he takes the game seriously.
And Nvve, this is. It's trying to push over 865, it looks like. 875 is the new intraday high, and that was the morning high as well.
Bob, yes, Kavl is still halted. We will check that when that halt resumes. It is still halted. By the way, AILE, which was mentioned earlier, that continuing to trade higher here. Low volume, but the movement there is pretty good. Palantir setting a new high here, 37.47 before backing off.
Look at Summit. That's
SMMT, right? I don't
Yep.
see it on my scanner, but let's take a look and see what's going.
Popped and dropped.
And look at the volume is not huge here. Summit, that is.
This could probably halt at some point if it keeps doing this. So just yeah, not a great one. Is GLMD doing the same thing? Kind of, not as bad, but that after it lost VWAP, that thing went down. So.
SUUN being mentioned by a couple of folks here. Tuna and Motion all over that one. SUUN. This is Solar Bank. This did move off the open here. Good volume sticks. I don't see an entry catalyst here, though. LASE continuing to move higher here. BHVN, Biohaven. This actually had news here this morning.
Nice LASE. That's great. Looking for a Bdtx to try to move up. It got down to the area I was looking for, rebounded a little bit, but it's still looking pretty weak. I'd imagine that if we start to get some volume in the MACD against the curl, we could see some recovery. I'm not sure that this is bottom yet either. I just was playing the bounce on there out of the halt, but I don't know that this goes much higher without the volume. And if it does, it's only. I think it may only try to get back up to VWAP. I don't know that it breaks out above it. Kavl
is open. Okay, that's going to be halted again, though, isn't it? God, what is going on with my news feed?
Look at that.
This is going to rip right into that halt there.
Yep, and it's going to halt. TGTL trying to recover, and Nvve holding or trying to stay above VWAP.
Halted.
Yeah, it popped. It opened, popped, and then halted again.
Yeah. So yes, Nick, you're saying it's still halted. It did. Just to clarify, it did open and re-halt. It is not still halted. It opened and re-halted. It was open for 22 seconds.
AILE.
It was open for 22 seconds.
211.
AILE continuing to trade higher here.
Someone was asking about AMD.
Tesla continuing to move higher here. So I wonder if AMD also moving higher. CCJ, I noticed, also got a mention. I'll get to all these. I know I'm behind here. Here's your AMD chart. This was a little bit of a dip and rip.
Yeah. Looking like 162.30 is an important level here. I have that marked off for some reason. I'm not exactly sure where it got that specific number from, but it's there for a reason. It looks like it's been a robust support resistance level. Looks like it's also trying to recapture the 200-day SMA.
Q's at the highs here. Q's here. Let me reset this chart. There we go. Q's here. Another dip and rip. Right, little bit of a dip out of the open and a rip to the high here. That's taking some of the other stocks with it. Tesla's still at the highs. Apple actually doing pretty good. So that Apple scalp that we're long here, not bad. Entered at 227 cross. Let's see, get above 228, get a full point holla on Apple.
Yeah, LASC just is not stopping.
Yeah, wow, laser photonics. And look at the volume, 213, volume expanding here.
And you know, don't start kicking yourself if you already took profits in this. You know, be happy you got what you got, because I have a feeling that when this starts to turn around and come back in, it's going to be quick and it's going to be painful.
Yeah, I mean, this move here, you could scale out on this move up here. Jay saying some crazy action in the Qs versus the Dow. Jay, I did take a look here at the Qs. I don't know that I guess the Dow here lower. I guess let me bring that up on screen just for the sake of the visual aid here. Dow moving to the lows, Q's moving to the highs. So inversely related there. Curious to see whatever else you see on that. Palantir 37.47, still your intraday high there. OKLO, I saw a number of people mentioning this morning. This dipped and moved right back to the open.
RCAT getting a mention.
Yep, RCAT got a few mentions. Sorry, I hadn't covered that one yet. That's higher here on RCAT.
They have earnings tonight.
Ooh. What do we expect for the RCAT earnings? Some of you small cap players that are on this one, what do you folks expect for this?
Oh, gosh. Let's see here. I think that there'd be a lot of sales growth in this with how much attention they've been getting in their contracts. I don't know enough to, or haven't followed enough to really give a good assessment of it. But I think thinking about it might be able to give us some more information on this. I'll get it out. Float is 62 million shares, so it is a little heavy.
Nice job on that PDD, Gerald. You'll get a register ring for that. We await Kavl's opening here.
There we go, Carmen. Thank you. SRR contract. Earnings should be good. Thank you, guys. No trouble admitting that I don't know enough about a company, especially when I have you folks to help me out.
Look, there are thousands of companies and stocks out there. It's ridiculous to assume anyone can remember any or everything. It's just how it goes.
I certainly do try.
I mean, yeah, but
not working. All right. Summit, man, this thing went all the way down to 23 and found some support. I don't know if that's the low for the day or not, but that's quite a drop.
Kavl, the last halt here was 5 minutes. We are approaching 5 minutes here. I wonder if this is going to be a 10-minute halt on this one or not. We'll see.
TGL is coming back. Yeah, it's trying to recapture VWAP right now. SMR says Shaka. I think I've looked at this one this morning.
TGL right back at that VWAP there.
So SMR, new scale power, that dropped down to 1040, and then it did a 180.
Kavl open and higher.
Jeez, and it's going to probably halt again.
So I sold into that pop there. If it halts again, it halts again, but I'm out there. Kavl, nice little win there. We'll boom, boom, boom. Great call on that. Can't believe I bought a stock out of the open and halted right again. That is, sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. That is what happened. I just got lucky on that. 1 for 1 on the trades here. Might book Apple. It can't break out of this 220. I was looking for 228 on Apple. Haven't got that yet. We'll see if we still get it here.
Nvve halted. That knifed.
Nvve halted. Okay. That was halt to the downside. Yeah, I see that one. I didn't feel great. I missed that initial move there. And I said to myself, maybe back off that one a little bit.
Geez.
Russell Bell, 130 to 180 on Kavl, 50-cent scalp on a $1.30 stock, Russell. That's how you start your morning off, buddy. Let's go.
LASC starting to come in. This is the movement I was being cautious about.
By the way, that TGL, when you last talked about that at the VWAP, that is now pushed up 8 cents off that VWAP. So that is continuing to move in the direction we discussed.
Summit going lower. This is very ugly looking, folks.
Not in Summit here today. That was not on my radar. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, because all the good movement that we were looking for happened last week. LASC, that's now coming back in, looking for support from VWAP. VWAP is at 1452. The high on this one is 1675. Okay, Kavl, a little bit of sideways action at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting Kavl out here. Let me put that up on screen. We'll see if we get it. I'd love a VWAP pull on Kavl. That might actually let us set up again here. BHVN, Biohaven, that was unable to trade through 50. Maybe watch that 50. GLMD, you guys were mentioning this one earlier. Is that still crazy here today? Yeah, this is kind of back and forth. Wow, we knifed through that VWAP and unable to get it. I guess we'll see if that turns around here. I'm kind of glad I'm not in that, to be honest.
So Lion Atlas, is this company going to reverse split? This GSCCF?
GSCCF.
And also, how? What's the time horizon on the processing plan?
God,
is that
dude.
like years away, or like did they say like what they're looking at?
Kavl coming in now, by the way. Yeah, so this Ioneer, is this what we're talking about? 1.6 billion in the float for this 14-cent stock. To me, folks, this one isn't tradable here.
Well, we're not talking for a trade today. He's just
Yeah, I know.
this is, for the lithium space. Looks like it has a lot of things that need to happen first, like reverse split. Maybe I don't even know what their balance sheet looks
Just
like.
passing through our Twitter viewers, they out here. Great call on Lassie. This did come right back into the VWAP, just like we were hoping for. So far, it's bounced. The volume will end up telling the story, right? If this volume continues to compress, look for this VWAP to be retested and maybe snap to the downside. If this volume expands from here, maybe we can go back up towards those highs. You're exactly right. This is what we were waiting for. Pull back down to that VWAP. So far, we have bounced. LASE.
RCAT getting a lot of mentions here. We are at a spot right now, 349 and 350. There is a large amount of sell orders there. So if it can break through that, we could see it.
Look at the staircase here on RCAT.
Yeah, let me see some levels here.
Kavl, another halt here, this time to the downside. That's why I sold as soon as we opened. That's why I sold into that pop, because you never know. We've seen Kavl do this before too. I don't think you don't stick around here waiting for a Henry Kavl autograph. Take your gains and get the hell out. TGL halted now. This one to the upside, right at the 131 intraday high. Wow, Carmen, talking about RCAT here, in since 58 cents. Carmen, well done. Well done on that. Nice conviction there on RCAT, holding it for, we talk a lot. I know we do a lot of day trading here together. We talk a lot about some of these quote unquote wealth moves being the longer holds here. Carmen, holding a penny stock here, pretty good conviction here on RCAT. You absolutely love to see it.
Got 3 halts right now: TGL, Nvve, and Kavl. Can you mention from about CEG, Constellation Energy? That's got a little bit of movement here this morning. There's another one too. BST.
That was CEG that you were just mentioning. That we talked about that last week. That was the energy. That's going higher here.
And so CEG. There's another one that was mentioned in our happy hour chat. VST that kind of has been trading along with it.
Guys, took Apple off here flat. Didn't really see much. Was hoping Apple was going to go above 228, make a red-green move. We didn't get it. We'll see what happens at 10 o'clock with the CNBC.
Did you give Carmen her soundboard spam?
I did. I gave her just the register ring, though.
Excellent. Nvve open. If this is going to go back up, it's going to be, I think it might knock its head on VWAP.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's holding 7 so far.
Yeah. LASE, this is really starting to come in here. This is what I was worried about.
So did we re-break that VWAP to the bottom side? Just disappeared off here. Let me go back to LASE because I had mentioned, yeah, we sure did. So we did not, we bounced a little bit off that. We were really unable. Now we've kind of snapped and moved to the downside. Wait for this one to shake out. Do you have a level on this 113? Or are you just kind of waiting it out?
Well, it was the chat brought it to my attention, so I don't have anything
gotcha
up here.
Yep, all good.
I think because we did trade, so I have levels like much lower than this because we traded this back when it was like in the single digits, and I don't have levels up here because we're literally in blue sky territory. Is my understanding with this one, right? Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of blue sky territory, look at the action here on Palantir. This is what we wanted to see here, right? Palantir dashed right out of the open, consolidating here. Let's see if we take out that 37.47 high. It's butted up against that a few times here. Palantir, ticker PLTR. Going well. Netflix looks like that popped just now. Maybe not just now, but recently.
GLMD is doing pretty well at holding 10, but the MACD is telling you that it might lose that. Keep an eye on it just in case it starts to see a volume increase or a volume spike. We might get a push up to VWAP, maybe even through it, but.
OKLO might be trying to break out here, 860 and change. Palantir right back on here. I love it. You guys, a lot of folks long Palantir here. Nick cleaning up the $37 calls as we move into the money. Here we go at that 37.47. Let's see if we snap it. There's some size there. They're printing it. Let's see if we hit and move through here. Bang, we are through. Higher we go. Palantir snapping out that resistance at the highs there. Kavl has resumed. Thank you, Robert. Kavl, interesting. That was not an immediate move down. That actually tried to bounce there. Cool.
Yeah, let's be careful. It looks like it's starting to roll over here. MACD's starting to show that it might go under VWAP in a little bit.
Oh, CCJ. Look at CCJ. This would have been the big day. See, you know what? I should have taken this instead of Apple. I got the performance move higher here on CCJ that I was looking for on Apple. That's okay. At least we're trying some things here. BHVN, still waiting on that 50 snap. You might get a day trade on a move there.
It looks like
I'll tell you what, not terrible for a Monday morning here.
No, it's been pretty good.
Not terrible at all. VIX down here melted at 16. Wow.
Well, TGL put in a new intraday high of 135 and it came right back down to VWAP. Looks like AILE is trying to recapture VWAP. Bdtx. So this is what
I have AILE recapturing VWAP here. To me, the next move on AILE is going to be a move through 2.
Yeah, Bdtx.
All right,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just mentioning Bdtx. This is what I was looking for. This is happening. It's kind of unfolding a lot slower than I'd like. But after that halt where it bounced down to 446 and then started coming back up, that's the area I was looking for the to bottom out. So we got that. It's just that it's moving very, very slowly back towards recovery. But it still could recapture VWAP. MACD looks pretty good. It might get up there. Sorry.
Okay. It is just past 10 o'clock. I know we're a little bit late, but it is time for our special guest. All right, Matt Malley joins us. Matt, happy Monday. How was your weekend? And how are you doing here today?
Great weekend. Very nice. A little rainy, but that's okay. Got a little golf in late Sunday afternoon, so that was a good time. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Hey, I'm impressed. You were able to get some golfing in on the first day of fall. I'll tell you what, every time I go out there and I see these fall leaves on the green, it destroys me just a little bit. But it was a nice weekend here, rainy for football here as well. Didn't get a Bears win, but was happy with some of the things that I see. So we're going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Matt, given the market here, kind of an interesting day here for SPY. I definitely want to get your take on the broader market. And then I want to ask you about Palantir, which we're seeing put in a good move here, now being added to the S&P 500. So start off with the market here. What are you thinking for this week now that the Fed is behind us?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Palantir there, but the market's still looking pretty good. It's interesting how the last week of September is usually a tough one. In fact, I think over the last 30 years, it's been averaged down 1% on all the major indices, which doesn't really surprise me because September can be such a tough month, and the bottom usually doesn't come in October. However, of course, this September hasn't been all that bad. Yeah, obviously we've seen a big pickup in volatility with a couple of swings in both directions, but we're making new all-time highs. So maybe that, this kind of upside momentum going into this week will keep the market from really getting hit. I'm just looking over here; it's up a little bit today. The thing that I'm really, again, I don't want to be too concerned because the market does that pretty well, but the zero is being priced in on these geopolitical issues, and that's a big concern to me. I mean, the situation in the Middle East is definitely getting worse. It was kind of a contained escalation. It's now a little less contained. I do think that the U.S. administration is working hard to make sure that if it really becomes a big regional war, the U.S. is trying very, very hard to make sure that doesn't happen until after the election. But it's just something that I think people need to price in. At least should be pricing in somewhat. And it's like, well, the market's making new highs. What do? I don't want to be raising cash because there are some areas where you can look at. I think in the energy sector is one of those. But overall, it's a it's just a tough situation where I just find it hard to really think that the market's going to rally a lot more than it already has. So I'm watching a couple of things, especially the Russell 2000. If the Russell 2000 can break out to the upside above its summer highs, that's going to be something that will be make me more encouraged about the near-term prospects for the market.
Yeah, now I'm with you 100% on the Russell here. Just to kind of recap, when we asked you before about the SPY, we had actually talked about this. Hey, yeah, it might actually break that top. It might actually set some new highs, but it really might not move a whole lot from there. That is exactly what we're seeing so far. So to your point, yeah, you're not really thinking that the market is going to move too much to the upside from here. We'll see if we end up getting it. To me, it looks like we kind of back tested that breakout. We'll see how we shake out here this week. As far as the IWM goes here, I actually hold a lot of small caps. This is something that I'd really like to see a breakout move from here. We are north of this 210, 212 area that we've really tried to push higher, but looks like we're struggling here with 226. What are your thoughts here in near term on IWM?
Yeah, I do worry that again, it's getting a little bit stretched here. It's bumping up against those summer highs, and so it wouldn't surprise me at all if it pulled back. The key is going to be what happens with the bank stocks, the regional bank stocks, I should say, because they're so heavily weighted in that index. A lot of people are really bullish on the thought that this is going to be that this group could rally very nicely. I worry. I'm a little bit more worried about the economy than most people. The point is, we get it if we do get the yield curve has turned positive. It's steepening. That can be positive for those regional banks. But if that won't be so good if we run into a slower economy. Everybody's saying no way we're going to have a recession. But remember, my biggest fear in this whole recession thing is that no economists are going to call for recession. They all called for recession 2 years ago, and they were all wrong. Okay, and not all, I shouldn't say all, but many of them did. And I know it's going to sound corny, but they call another recession that doesn't happen, they're going to lose their jobs. Okay, so they're not going to call another recession until we're already in it. Okay, it's just too hard for their job security, because it's one thing to be wrong, as they say, it's okay to be bullish and wrong on Wall Street, on the sell side of Wall Street. It's not so good to be bearish and wrong. And so sorry, let me just do that here.
That's heroic.
We need to be you just need to be careful about looking for those signs. So I think it's going to be. Don't wait for economists to tell us we're headed for a recession, because we're going to be already in one before that happens. Anyway, I don't mean to be, again, overly bearish here. I just think my biggest concern is what's going on, especially in the Middle East, but around the world, and people need to be careful. I mean, one of the things that you can take advantage of, though, is, with what's going on in the Middle East, and just looking at oil now, up another 60 cents today. Again, it's not skyrocketing higher. But this should, now that it's really starting to escalate in a bigger way, the situation there in the Middle East, I think that puts a floor under crude oil. And the oil stocks have been beaten up. The energy stocks have been beaten up for the last 4 or 5 months. So I think you have a floor under them, and they should be able to outperform even if the Middle East doesn't blow up in a major way. But if it does, we got a big issue. And look at natural gas. We are in the chat room here, the Benzinga chat room that I host. We bought some UNG, the calls on the UNG, which is the ETF for natural gas. They're up 160% since we bought them just on Friday. It's starting to break out a little bit above that 15 level. Now it's above 16 this morning. This thing has been giving us a bunch of head fakes for a while now, and it's finally seen that breakout. And people are, well, fundamentally, I'm not sure. Well, we're heading into the winter months. We've had 2 really warm winters in Europe. Will we get a third? Odds probably not good that we'll get a third in a row, but you never know. But my point is, the chart is telling us it's breaking out. This is working really well for us. And so I like energy overall, but I like some of the stocks that also have exposure to that natural gas area.
Awesome. And this sorry, 13, 1 sec here. This natural gas chart actually looks like we might test the 200-day, which is at 1687. Last time we tested that, we stopped there. We'll see if we break out. 13, I'm sorry, get in there, my man.
I was just wondering, are you just going to wait for this move to happen, or are you kind of looking forward to lifting of export controls? I think that's one of the biggest things that's hampering down natural gas prices.
Yeah, and so yeah, well, that's going to be very bullish. And again, I don't want to. I don't want to harp on this thing because it really didn't have an impact a couple of years ago when the whole thing started. Well, it did for a short time, but this whole thing, the situation in Ukraine. I mean, if we start, the talk now is that we're going to give long-range missiles to Ukraine that will go deep into Russia. And Putin has come out and said, if they start shooting long-range missiles, we know they can't use them without your help. In other words, without the help of the U.S. and Europe, and they will consider that an attack by NATO as a whole. Boy, that takes a whole. And what are they going to do then? What are they going to do to their pipeline? I mean, they can sell a lot to China and others. They shut down Europe. That's going to be a big problem. So there's a lot of different things converging here that could help natural gas do well. I don't want to get too excited because we've had several head fakes. And like you said, Ryan, we got to break above that 200-day moving average. Near term, it looks like it's going to get there. So that leaves us plenty of upside in the calls we bought late last week in the chat room. But then we got to see, does it take that next step? Because you mentioned back in May and June of this year, that 200-day moving average provided rock solid resistance. We got to be able to break up with that for it to be a longer term play. But near term, it looks like a real good one.
And the natural gas issue with Ukraine, they already said that they are not going to renew with Gazprom, which is the Russian company that's providing natural gas through Kursk, which they took over through that military operation. That houses a facility that distributes natural gas throughout Europe. It's basically like a control point. But Ukraine has said that they are not going to renew with Gazprom, and I don't think we need to look very far to see why. I think at the end of the year, when that expires, that contract, that's when we're really going to start to see what you're talking about, because then Russia will not be distributing to Europe anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's something everybody. It's again the same thing we talked about before. Everybody was talking about this 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago when they first invaded, but it really didn't become a big problem. So now people are afraid to do it again because they want the boy who cried wolf, and then so it'll be all of these things. My biggest fear right now in the marketplace is that we saw what happened in 2020. We had nobody. No, investors, especially professional investors, whether they be institutional investors, RIAs, whoever, what happened in 2020, everybody ignored the pandemic until it kicked them in the teeth. But it didn't hurt those professional money managers. Why? Because the market got clobbered suddenly all at once. It wasn't like a bear market where people stuck into it for months and months and months and got burned. They all went down together. So nobody underperformed anybody else. They're like, yeah, we went down, but your next door neighbor and the other, their performance did not get hurt any worse than anybody else's. However, those who got out of the market or held on to cash for too long as we came out of that pandemic got burned. So they're sitting there going, I'm going to stay in this market until it burns, because if it burns me, it's going to burn everybody all at once. And so I'm not going to call for a bear market, and I'm not going to raise any cash. And that's what's happening here in the natural gas situation. People aren't going to call for it until it kicks them in the teeth, which is and we're taking advantage of it right now.
One last thing I was curious about, because I don't think we spoke since we had the Fed's rate decision, and we got a 50 basis point cut. I know that a lot of folks were expecting 50 and we're expecting 25. I was in the 25 camp. After we got this rate cut decision, do you think they went too big, or and what are you thinking going forward for November, December? What do you think we ultimately end up with for the year?
I would have been, why did they do it? Why did they do it? And they said, well, it wasn't, the economy's doing fine. Well, the economy's doing fine, which Powell said. Why did they feel the need to go by 50 basis points? I mean, they had absolutely positively signaled 25 basis points for months and weeks. And suddenly at the last second, they decided they're going to, they went 50, and they sent, they started, they were in the quiet period. So they're little conduits like the Fed whisperer there from the Wall Street Journal and former New York Fed President Dudley. and they sent them out to raise those expectations. So suddenly the whole street moved. But what happened that made them do that? And I just worry that we saw Jeff Gundlach last week saying that we're already in a recession. He says that history will probably show that we're actually when it fell into recession in September. What's going on? These guys talk to CEOs all over America. I'm talking about Federal Reserve people. If you're in the Atlanta, you're the Bostic, the Atlanta Fed president. He's talking to people in his region, CEOs all the time, and small businesses and all these people. What are they? I worry what they're saying about employment, because darn well they're going to get these business leaders are getting a lot of pressure. If you're about to lay off people, wait until after the election. Don't do it now. Nobody happens every 4 years. Nobody ever gets laid off right before the election. And sometimes, certainly, if the economy's doing fine, it's great. But sometimes they pick up after the election ends. And so I'm worried that year end and then early next year, we're going to start to see this issue. It just tells me, again, they worked so hard to make sure they didn't scare people with this thing. Shakespeare, they protested too much. I get a little worried there. And the only thing I know, I'm sure we've been running time here, but the Palantir thing,
yes.
Be careful there. It was, it's up again today, but the announcement came out, the stock kind of went up on that. Now that it's in, those index funds will be in. And if you look at its RSI up at 78, 78 and a half, that's getting, overbought. It did get as high as 80 back in February before it rolled over. But I love Palantir long term. Love the stock. Defense, the AI, defense contracts, so many reasons to like this stock. But be a little bit careful about chasing that stock right here. I just think with it getting overbought and that supply demand, the demand issue coming up, basically going away now that it's into the S&P today, that may give it an excuse to pull back at least a little bit over the near term.
Thank you so much, Matt, for all that.
Yeah, real good stuff. We appreciate the extra time here today, Matt. Really appreciate your insight on everything. If you want more of Matt's calls, I went ahead and posted a link in the chat room. Go ahead and check it out. Matt, have a great rest of your week. We'll catch up with you next week, all right?
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Take care,
Thank
Matt.
you.
That is Matt Malley. He is awesome. Again, if you want to check out some of his calls, go ahead and check out the link I threw in the chat. We are grateful that he shares his time here with us. Awesome stuff there, 13. And I'm with him here on Palantir. This is, we just kind of finished with that. This is one of the reasons why we were positioned for this instead of waiting for this. So he's telling you he likes it long term. You get a little bit of a move back in here. Maybe think about a swing long there. Okay, let me move back over, to my main workspace. I know a lot was going on there. Let's catch up with all of the movement.
So I'll start with AILE. This one found a bit of a bottom here. It looks like some supply from the pre-market down at 173. It looks like turning around right now, going back to VWAP. We would be looking for a VWAP recapture. Next would be Bdtx. This one is the one I was looking for, getting down at the 460s. It's found a bottom at 446 and has been coming back up. This one could also get back up to VWAP, but I don't know that it breaks through. TGL, that hit a high of 140 while we were talking with Matt, came back in, tested VWAP, trying to come back up as well. Careful with this one. The MACD doesn't look like it's going to be hanging out in this position for too long. Looks like it's about to roll over. So if that does, I think that so too will the price. And Nvve coming down to the pre-market low of 550. Hasn't quite hit it there yet, but is almost there. So if we do get down to 550, I would think that we would at least try to bounce and recover a little bit, maybe even get back up to VWAP. Can't say for sure.
Kavl ended up going higher. Looks like we were just shy of 2 here. Kavl holding at 171. Sideshow, we will take this all day.
Nice.
Grabbed almost $1,000 out of this little junky stock here today. Well done. That's exactly what we want to see here. Well done. By the way, folks, man, oh man, I know I sold out of Apple earlier here. We might be finally getting that move to 228. We shall see. I was out there flat on Apple. What else we got in here? Smoke Tuna mentioning LYT, which is interesting. So we got someone in our happy hour that is long a whole bunch of this. Looks like LYT, a little pop out of the open here, move lower. 169 here on LYT. I actually have a couple hundred shares of this just to watch.
What did this do on Friday that had that movement?
LYT?
Yeah, isn't that?
Nothing.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's pre-market.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was pre-market here today. I didn't see any fresh news on it, but something to watch. That's why I grabbed a couple hundred of those just to force myself. By the way, here is NNE. This is nano nuclear. This moving to the highs as well. 1444 right there.
Summit looks like it's got a bear flag on the 5-minute, and it's probably going to end up going under 22 if this resolves fully.
SMMT.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty decent looking bear pattern there. Somebody mentioned Lumen earlier, and this thing has been steadily moving up after we dropped out of the open. Now above 680.
Lumen, that's going to be LUMN. Sorry, I was trying to read some of the chat comments there. LUMN.
Getting asked about
SUUM. This was mentioned by Tuna earlier. Solar Bank. This was actually moved higher here. Interesting. AMPX. This at the highs.
Getting asked if TGL is going to break out. I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to roll over. But if it holds VWAP, then you might have a chance of it breaking out over 140. But at the moment, for me, it looks like this is trying to go lower.
Robert mentioning DFEN with no context there. That is the Aerospace and Defense Levered ETF. That actually highs here. This actually looks pretty good. I guess if you're with Matt on the global issues here, maybe you do like DFEN as a potential trade here.
Yeah, that I used to own ITA when I wasn't holding anything, any of the defense stocks directly. This thing has been absolutely on fire.
SPY to the highs here. By the way, the entire market to the highs here. Dow at the highs, Q's at the highs, SPY at the highs. Higher we go here. So it looks like a dip and rip day here on the market. Look at this SPY chart. Eduardo saying, guys, 381. That's 381 YouTube watchers. We also have a big conglomerate from Twitter, which we appreciate. Only 6 likes. Folks, if you want to get more traders into this show for more calls, more charts, more ideas, please exploit the YouTube algorithm. Smash up the like, share it with as many people as you can. The more people we add here, the more eyeballs we have, the more things we're going to see here. So let's exploit that YouTube algorithm. Appreciate you, Edward.
Yeah, it looks like SPY's trying to. I mean, I have this October trend line right in the way of where the SPY price is. So I'm wanting to see if we get a rejection and lose 570. That's the next step I'm looking for with SPY.
Okay, Kavl here. This looks like this might be trying to be careful with this one. We haven't seen a really big knife yet on this. We've seen a pullback. We haven't seen a really big knife yet on this one. Don't be in it when it does that. See if this moves to the highs. No position here for me on Kavl, just kind of watching it at this point.
SMR popped to 1133. No problem, CT 2010. Good defense name is
Tom asking, did anyone trade any of Anne-Marie's butterflies from Friday? I did not. The last butterfly I have on here was the Palantir one. Thoughts on CCJ? You must have just joined Let's Talk, because we have been talking about CCJ most of the day here. This LEU, we've talked about uranium kind of being hot here. I'd really like to see here. In fact, I'll go back to my other chart here so we can actually see the viewpoint here on CCJ. This is what we've got, right? Totally just recaptured that 200-day. I would love to see a close above this. There's been a great stock here today, CCJ. A close above this 200-day. I think you might be able to take a swing long on that. Take a look at the broader market here. We're kind of flat across the board after being in the red. Looks like we're moving green. We'll see if this starts to stretch out a little bit.
That's what I was about to say with this market. I'm scanning through some of these other ones. They've just a lot of sideways action, what I'm seeing at the moment. TGTL, still holding VWAP. So MACD is saying it could roll over, but we get a push up in volume that could take us back to 140. But I think it's really just going to matter with it's just going to be the volume that we need to focus on in order to prevent this from going from rolling over like the MACD is suggesting. So we see that volume expansion. This is going higher. Otherwise, we might lose VWAP.
Take care of yourself, Judge. Thanks for joining us here today.
Judge. RCAT, it's spent the last 20 minutes or so trying to get back above VWAP and hold it. Yeah, that's probably what I think is going to need to happen with RCAT. Just get back above that VWAP. Otherwise, it's headed lower, probably down to maybe 325 if it continues to get rejected there.
Palantir coming back into its VWAP.
Zeo Energy. This is a slow.
That was Zeo. We traded that one last week, didn't we? 13.
I think we did.
I think we did.
This one's trying to break that 295 high that it put in earlier. Needs volume on this one too. It looks like a lot of volume has left the market, and things that are looking like they're about to break out might not. Yeah, TGL was getting a little bit of volume there, but it is not pushing up. And as a matter of fact, here we go down through VWAP. The MACD was not lying.
That was on TGL, correct?
Yeah, getting some VWAP support, but it looks like this is it's in the process of losing it.
Yeah, I've got the VWAP at 119. It's definitely shown support there. We'll see if we go through it. It's definitely slowed down, volume compressing a little bit as well. Morning, Walter. It's good to see you.
Looks like GLMD's trying to make a comeback, shooting for VWAP. I have that at 1035. It's currently at 1005.
See what happens if we reclaim that VWAP. Cores, this is another one that you folks watch. Cores having another good day here. Look at that 15-minute chart. Maybe we can break above this 1275 area on Cores. I think that puts 13 into play here. It'd be a nice little breakout there on Cores if you can get that. Pavan asking about DJT. I'll be honest, this has not given any type of trade recently. This lower here, this to me, I wouldn't even consider investing in this. This is a trade-only vehicle, and unless there's something going on, I don't really see it here. DJT lower by 6% here today. I don't see the upside case here in DJT. Yeah, feels more like gambling than anything.
This is likely still overvalued. Remember, this was a SPAC, and there's going to be a de-SPACing process with this. We haven't really seen that happen yet, as it hasn't, started trading down beneath that $10 SPAC level. And we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen redemptions in this yet. So
nope.
This could still end up going much lower, even though Trump said he was holding this and not selling.
And he could hold it through that. Yeah, it's not gonna affect him. So don't trade like him. Trade on your own risk parameters.
Yeah, we lose 10. It could really start selling off. So just keep that in mind. This is pretty risky, especially given the valuation.
TGL here, by the way, trying to hold its VWAP.
Yeah, MACD was telling us that this was getting weaker, and the VWAP was the last area where we could get some support. I mean, it's still slightly above it, trying to recapture it, but it's looking weak. Looks like a lot of these are looking weak. Everything kind of rolling over. Not Zeo, though. That just made a new high. Same with Lumen.
I'm going to check, see what else here. See anything else from my trading group here. We seem to be on all of the movers here today. TGL continuing to bounce from that level in there.
GLMD cross VWAP. Let's take a look here.
Let me bring that up here. And I'm actually going to step away for a sec here, 13. 1 sec here.
Sure. No problem. Okay, so this is good with GLMD. We got back up to the VWAP like we wanted, and now it's trying to hold that. To me, it looks like it's slightly underneath it, trying to pop above it, though. 1050 is also a spot that I have a line at here. It's been providing some resistance. Well, looking at this price action this morning, 1050 seems to be where we were unable to go much higher on. We did get to 1119, but That was just the upper shadow. When we actually close these candles, they're closing beneath 1050. So we need to see some closes above 1050 in order for this to continue to get back up into the 11s. We might get that if we can start closing over VWAP, but right now that has not happened. MACD does show that it is due to go up a little bit more, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with this one. No position in this one. RCAT also trying to recapture VWAP. BCTX, slow and steady. This has potential to swing. That's not BDTX, it's BCTX. So let me see what
a new one.
Well,
another
we got a
B
mention
stock?
from Webcoin. This is Cell Therapeutics. This is a penny stock. It's got a high intraday of 70 cents. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm lying. You're right. DJT negative revenue. Like, I don't know what this business. Truth Social isn't really doing very well, especially if you have Trump, posting on X. Like, I guess what's the point of having Truth Social if you're just going to?
Yeah, I mean, the whole Truth Social thing seemed to be a thing before X got bought by Elon. I'm not really sure how to necessarily square that. I would say wait that out. Intel getting mentioned here. Guys are talking about Intel. Intel stock gains in the pre-market following reports of Qualcomm and Apollo's investment offer. Jay Rice had the comment of the day, and it came early. I tell you what, you got to wake up pretty early to beat Jay Rice. He was saying how Intel not really worth 90 billion. Take its 90 billion, subtract 50 billion from its bad management, and that's probably its valuation. Jay, that seems pretty spot on, honestly. I got a pretty good chuckle when you had mentioned that earlier here. Intel higher here. My big thing on this one, we talked about it, folks. I really do want to see that CEO replaced. That to me would be something. If we do kind of continue to trade up and maybe move through 23, we are in this gap here. I wouldn't be too excited about that, though. We'll see on Intel. I'm not in a rush on Intel. It's kind of how I'll leave it there. Octo getting spammed here in the chat. Let's check it. OCTO.
Intel, real quick, just something I'm seeing here from the 5-minute chart. Seems like 23 is a big level of resistance. Every time it's gone up there, maybe even a little bit past it, it's been slapped right down. So be careful once we approach 23 here. We're about 25 cents away.
Octo getting mentioned here in the chat. This did pop and halt on volume. Big volume stick there. 128,000 shares out of nowhere, pushing that into the halt. 8Co Holdings.
TGL is recovering now.
What TGL, I think, is what you tried to say there.
Did I butcher it?
Oh man,
TGL,
it was all over the place. There were 6 letters, and I had to just guess which one it was. But we got it.
Yeah. So held VWAP now pushing back up. This is the other side of the equation that we were talking about, where if it does hold VWAP, we could see this, but it's not looking very robust. 140 is the upside target if we keep this moving up, though. Kavl still, it did suspend after it, was halted to the downside, but it's still above VWAP. I mean, this thing, according to the MACD, this thing is going to shoot through VWAP when we open. That's what I would be expecting anyway. LASE, this is really coming down now. 1675 was that was the high. We lost VWAP. Once we couldn't reclaim it, down we go.
Here is your LASE.
No CEO can save Intel.
Nice.
Well,
that's trouble then.
Here's the thing. You have I know that there's that buyout offer. That's that's on its own. But the Apollo investment, see, I'd like to think that means that there's their strategy for restructuring and turning things around. Apollo believes that they're on the right track. That's what I would take away from such an investment. That Apollo believes they're on the right track. So that remains to be seen in my mind. Like you guys are saying, and like you were saying, Ryan, the management is just awful.
Yeah.
You caught Octa before the halt. Look at you go, man.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet. UXIN has had a pretty decent day. Smoke Tuna mentioning there's not much to trade. Indeed, don't force yourself. I'm green here on the ledger, but it was basically nothing. It was the Kavl pop and then the Apple flat trade. That's really all I have. And that was this morning. Since then, I haven't really seen anything great here. I'm okay with that.
All my trades have been before Matt Malley.
Yeah. Yep, same. That was great today. Really
Mhm.
appreciate him sharing some extra time with us too. That's really awesome.
Absolutely. Sorry for all the questions too.
No, don't be sorry. It's if he's look, if we're gonna ask him stuff and he's gonna answer it, giddy up. That's how we help everybody here.
All right. So Jay Rice mentioning LEU CCJ. Remember what I had posted earlier about on the earnings power?
Yeah, I can't. There's so many comments, Jay. I can't remember all of them, man. Help us out, bro. Help us out. NNE still at the highs?
I mean, that's a good point, Big B's, because like, wouldn't the board replace them if they were that unhappy? So either maybe the board is the problem. Maybe there's something going on that we just don't know about that's already turning the company around, and we just haven't seen it yet. A lot of question marks. Absolutely. All right, what are we doing now? What's actually making some moves to the upside? Looks like GLMD is the one that's doing it. Looking for a break of 1050. Remember earlier we were talking about how every time this breaks over 1050, we have not got a close over it, at least on the 5-minute chart. Have not got a close over 1050 yet. So that's what we want to see here is start seeing some closes over 1050.
Okay, LEU. So Jay saying LEU earned 189 last quarter. CCJ earned 10. He's talking about those earnings there. Both of those stocks holding higher here, though. RFID trader saying, Ryan, my friend, $25.5 million investment not working out for the Bears. What are you referring to? I think you're referring to the signing bonus for the rookie quarterback that you don't really get to negotiate. He clearly wasn't the problem. I'm curious as to what you're even talking about, my man. Did you watch the game? That is my only follow-up question at the moment. Did you watch the game? Because clearly he was not the problem. He was dealing. Nope, he didn't watch the game. Okay, that makes sense.
You were okay. So we were just getting asked about Rivian. You recall what that the movement down on Friday was? We were watching this.
Ooh, Octo open here and pulling to the VWAP. We'll see if that sets up. Do I remember? No, I don't, bro. I barely remember what happened on Saturday, let alone Friday. Here we go on Rivian. Let's check the news feed here. Friday, Rivian introduces a 100K Trimax variant of its electric SUV. Goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I guess maybe there wasn't a lot of good feelings or vibes on the new Rivian vehicle for over 100K.
We had, I know we had a little bit of a discussion about this on Friday, and maybe in the happy hour chat. I'd have to look at it and see what it was. GLMD, by the way, that hit 150 and came right back in. Right back in.
That was GLMD.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go to that if we have a trade set up here. It looks like it just got slapped off its VWAP. Get first access to the Storm Blue. Let's at least look at the color here. Boy, here we go. Oh, you guys can't see this, can you?
I can read
okay, so here's my question. If you're gonna make a tweet to try and draw interest to a new vehicle, and you're going to mention a particular color scheme, why on earth would this be the picture that you choose? That color is completely washed out. This is, look, I am not a photog. I am not a photography expert, but even I know that this seemed to be a poor choice. This seemed to be a poor. You want to try to sell, people can go in their electric vehicle to the middle of the mountains and do their thing. Okay, I get that. This, I can't even look at the color in this picture here. Get a first access to the Storm Blue exterior. That picture does not do it justice. Maybe this does. This is the Storm Blue.
That looks gloomy.
I wish I had 4 hands so I could give this color 4 thumbs down, because this is awful. I love blue.
That's more like Storm. Boo.
The dad jokes, dude. They're just too good. Anyway, just giving you my stream of consciousness thoughts there on Rivian. Apologize if I offended anybody.
All right.
I can't quite see what the product is. I will buy the sunset though. Anthony, yes, I don't even know if I could have summed that up, but it was a good sunset. TGL.
TGL.
That did pop. Volume here is pretty sweet. You guys, you folks are laugh riot here today. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Good call, by the way, 13. Good job keeping us on task here.
No, yeah, I was just trying to figure out what the problem with Rivian was on Friday. I know we talked about it, but I forgot what it was. But when we look at the income statement, of course, this company continues to lose $1.5 billion each quarter. So seems like sales are doing really well. Lumen.
JP, I didn't even realize this till looking at a different screen here. JP Morgan lowered their price target on Nike. Nike actually lower here. It's not really breaking down. We talked about Nike last week about maybe finishing off this gap fill on this move higher. Now they catch a downgrade here.
Let's see.
What, smart guy? Why did you show us a black and white picture? Man, I don't know. I was hoping for something better, and honestly, there was not a whole lot of contrast or color in there. Boomer saying, I'm long on Caleb Williams too. Me too, man. I know he got his first 2 touchdowns there. Don't forget he had 2 dropped already. They need some O-line help there. And oh my God, you got 1st and goal from the 1. What on earth was that play calling? Someone needs to take Waldron out back, slap him around a little bit. I can call a better game plan in Madden than that junk. Anyway, I digress.
Negative catalyst watch.
Vtyyx, maybe this gets back to its VWAP, only 10 cents away. I don't think it's going to get above it, though. It would really need some volume to do that.
All right, Kavl starting to lose VWAP here.
UXIN holding higher here. Let me bring Kavl up here, 13. Yep, sure did. We're going to accelerate away from this VWAP to the downside. If so, I got your next support level 30 cents below here, 124. Careful if you're going to trade this one. Nvve popping. Did pop off the bottom, yep.
Vtyyx is interesting. It looks like it could get going here, given that some of these conditions happen. One, it did test VWAP just now, and there's a supply zone in the way between 260 and 270. So, and the MACD is starting to curl. I'm thinking if we get enough volume, we can break through the VWAP, break through that supply, get up into the towards 275, maybe even higher. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that'd be something I'm be watching for, because those are the conditions that kind of exist for the stock right now.
Apple did finally move above that 228. I got chased from the. See, I should have held on to those blue chip stocks like that. I should hold on to them longer into the day. I got chased out of that one just from the boringness. And now here it is working.
Line Atlas. I agree with what you're saying. Gold, uranium, oil. That's all going to do good. Do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of other materials too? I think we touched on MP materials, and we've been on FMC. So basic materials, it seems like, especially in a rate cut environment, those could end up doing really well also. What do you think?
Damn, I got no continuation from Bros this week. That's what I was hoping for.
Summit down to 2205 is the low of the day. Don't think that one's quite done. Kavl really starting to fall.
Yeah, Wiss, don't even get me started, man. They got the zebras in their pocket now. Yikes. Talk about boring. Just boring. Give me something new.
We were making all kinds of jokes about Jerry Jones and his expensive contract that he handed to Dak.
That team is. Yeah, I'd rather be a Bears fan than a Cowboys fan right now. I'll tell you that much.
If economy is slowing, basic materials should be weak. Okay. Just seems like there's some headwinds for supply chains when it comes to certain materials. And we not that the United States really needs antimony because we have a good supply of it, but China put in some export restrictions on antimony, as well as some other important ones which we don't have supply on. like germanium and gallium. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some, supply chain disruptions that could give basic materials a lift. Also, there's a strike coming up for the East Coast ports starting October 1st, unless a contract is reached by the U.S. Maritime Association and the International Longshoremen's Association. But other than that, yeah, but we have a slowing economy, then yeah, at that point, I just think that there's other headwinds that's helping lift those.
Okay.
It'll be started good pulling back. Sorry,
I'll tell you what, you folks did, you guys had a great little day here. Great way to start a Monday. Great way to start a Monday. We don't have a whole lot of action here, at least so far. Post-Fed, a pretty good start to a Monday here.
It's interesting. I didn't see this news in ALB on Friday that the DOE is going to invest $3 billion in battery production. You can catch that. Jerry Jones working on his next excuse press meeting. Here's a little fun fact. Their last win, the Cowboys, in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 30 in 1996. We're coming up, 2 years from now, we're coming up to Super Bowl 60. So it's kind of funny to me that the entire time that the last time they won Super Bowl, that 30 years that we've had Super Bowls, and then that entire time will have passed with them having a Super Bowl drought. I think that's sad, but it's also kind of funny because it's been the same person managing the team for that exact same time.
I just love that my partner from Texas is not a Cowboys mega fan. You want me to give me the honest. I'm going to be honest here. I'm just so thrilled that I don't show up every Monday and have you telling me about how great the Cowboys are. It is literally one of the best things. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I prefer the Texans anyway.
Yeah, which is fine. They're a more exciting team to watch anyway. I'm okay with that. It's just the Cowboys. It's just like, oh my God. I tell you what, I turn on sports TV and they're talking about the Cowboys and I just want to beat my own brains out. It's like, come on. They're not doing anything. Thank you, JJ. Go Bills. I'm rooting for the Bills tonight. Let's go.
We have 2 games tonight.
Yeah, I know. 2 games on a Monday. These are the good Mondays. All right. Mm-hmm. Just get me to the end of the day here. You get me to the end of the day. Ryan's going to be happy as a clam. Cloud 9, and I'm going to be certain it's going to be awesome.
Looks like LASE is just getting a pop here, trying to get back to VWAP. Looking to see if anything's turning around, maybe getting exciting here. Oh, look at that move in TGL after that VWAP bounce. MACD was showing this is rolling over. We did get a breakdown beneath VWAP, but then buyers came back in and look at that expanding volume. That's what we wanted to see. Nvve has been
Michael, I have a Cowboys fan here and I'm looking for Jerry Jones puts. I can appreciate this. And I'm not trying to talk smack. My team's no good yet. But I can appreciate the honesty. I know exactly what you feel like.
And here's my olive branch. Emmitt Smith has been my favorite running back of all time. Probably will continue to be. I don't think that'll change. So there that is. I think he's the GOAT on the running back side. I think he probably will be for a very, very long time.
I'll just leave that one here. We're not gonna start the Walter Payton debate. Not today. We'll do that some other time. Codfather here. Cade Father. Look, Apple, man, I was looking for a move above 228. We got a full point move here, and I got shaken from this one earlier. I will say I don't see any news here on Apple. I do think this is trading with the market. We've pretty much had some weakness that was pretty much bought up. Yeah, I don't see anything new here. Oh, did we have? Who was watching? Did Dan Ives come on?
Yeah,
did Dan Ives from Wedbush come on and pump the hell out of this thing? Or what the hell happened here?
That's what I was wondering. It was like, did Dan Ives come on and just start pumping this up? And that's the move we're seeing. I mean, that's something that we saw it was going to happen. He was going to go on CNBC. Did that?
See, I'm even if that's the case though, 13, like strategy wise, I'm even more upset with myself. I'm even more upset with myself that I let myself get chased from something before a known catalyst happening in the future is going to happen. I mean, that's just
Hey, oh, it looks like Nvve is coming back. It's okay though, because
Yeah,
it's in the past. You just got to look and see. I mean, we don't necessarily usually make that kind of mistake, but it's just one of those things we review, we see what we went wrong, and just try to improve next time. And we know what we're doing. So next time you see something like that, just be like, I remember last time that I saw that, I kind of poo-pooed that news. I'm not going to do that this time. So we'll make a trade next time.
The news is its own thing. I'm already poo-pooing the reduced iPhone sales hurting, blah blah blah. I think Apple's going to do fine. It's just we've been a full point day trade here on Apple, and that's basically all I'm looking for. Should have added that. I'm still green here today, but could have had actually a nice day. Jay saying the best cowboy is Romo, and he's an analyst. LOL. By the way, the video of Bryson and Romo trying to break 50, one of the best ones. They did it in the rain. I won't spoil the ending, but that's a good one, Jay. If you haven't watched that, check that one out.
LASC trying to break VWAP, and I will say that Romo is by far a much better announcer than Brady.
Well, Brady's done 3 games. Romo's been doing this for 4 years, so let's let him catch up a little bit. I still think Brady's awesome. They just got to get him off Cowboy games.
And VVE trying to come back up and recapture the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. I don't know how high this one gets if it does.
Look at Zim. Look at your call, Zim.
Oh,
this
wow.
this already at new highs here today on Zim. Octo, what happened? Look at this. This is the one that popped earlier. Smoke Tuna, I hope you did all right on this one. QH getting mentioned here. We've seen that one trade before, haven't we? QH.
Zim
oh gosh.
New executive appointment. Sorry, what? QH? Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's up here near the highs too.
Is this going to be one of those 1,000%ers? What's with this one? What's going on here?
Let's see it. Do we have news on this one? No. Nope. Nothing new on this one. This just looks like maybe one of those pumps.
Gig economy in China. Yeah. I think there was some bullishness going into China this morning, but I don't know how long it'll last. Remember that they had
the highs here, 129.30 now. Damn it, 13.
Remember there would have been there was the hurricane and the moon festival last week with China, so markets were kind of shut down for the holidays, and now we're probably just getting a lot of those investors and traders coming back online and putting their money in places.
Yeah, and as far as some of these tech stocks goes, that is tough. The alliteration there with the G's, that's tough. Q's going higher here. Is this breaking out new NHOD here for the Q's? So this is going to be good for all of those tech names. Nvidia, Apple, Tesla. Tesla's actually still at the highs. Apple pounding highs. How's Nvidia doing? And there was someone else trading Micron earlier. Nvidia actually the weakest of them. Wow. Micron here. Who was trading this one earlier? This had a nice little pop. This holding its highs on Micron. Costco higher. No, everything's good there. Costco, that is literally one of my favorite stocks and companies. So awesome.
So Nvidia CEO is meeting with Modi. That's something that Apple should probably do. I saw something about China maybe not buying as many Nvidia products soon. I don't know. I don't know how true all that was, or if anybody else has seen that.
Baba at the highs here. PDD also getting mentioned. Looks like some of these China tech stocks at the highs here. Indeed, PDD back on.
Yeah, it got beaten up a lot.
Actually, they sure have. PDD, look at this.
Yep.
Nvve found a trend line support. What chart is that on?
Well, you know what?
Actually, this not terrible here, and
I think I see what you're talking about. Let's see if I draw this. So, are you kind of looking at from the low of Friday and up through the pre-market and after hours, it's kind of like a support trend line that you're talking about. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, Jay Rice, so Nvidia, with China stopping chip purchases or slowing them. And I saw that headline. I didn't read it. I was wondering if anybody else had. Can't read everything. I only got 2 eyes, and the clock ticks for me the same way it does for y'all.
Yeah, but you also have like a wife and kids. Like you have obligations and serious stuff that needs to be handled too.
Hey, man, don't bring all them into this.
No, it's not their fault. I'm saying that you're making the right choice. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
QH keeps going.
Continuing the pop here. Yep, Smoke Tuna's on this one. SUUN, this is holding its move. Didn't really give us a move out of the gate there, but holding it. American Superconductor, AMSC here. Higher.
It's like Vtyyx.
Tell you what, I know Matt Malley was correctly warning not to chase this here. Palantir is strong. Palantir's strong here, strong like bull. Would love to actually see this consolidate, kind of shrink that RSI a little bit, and then maybe take another leg higher. That'd be ideal.
Well, let's see where we can go with Palantir. I mean, 40 seems entirely possible. I don't know that we'll close above 40 or at 40. Keep in mind that when we did trade back up to that area in 2021, we did not close over 40. We, traded all the way up to 45. Traded over 40 for 2 days, but never closed above it. So that's going to be an interesting level, that $40 level.
Sure will. Folks, we got 2 minutes left here before I send you over to Trader Bacon. It's been a really good Monday, 13. I know it's not been our most active day, but really no bad surprises here. I didn't get slapped across the face by Mr. Market, so that's always good. Matt Malley was tremendous yet again. Chat was great yet again. So really good start here to a Monday. We got 2 football games tonight, so good stuff going on here. A couple of minutes left here. You got anything you want to mention to the group? Keep an eye on for today.
I forgot who mentioned it, and if you're still out there, I apologize. But they did mention that some of these names could come back in the afternoon. That's entirely possible. We've seen that happen plenty of times lately. So if you're going to be at the computer, maybe that's something to watch for. Otherwise, have yourself a wonderful rest of the day. Maybe go outside, touch grass, and enjoy the sun.
Yeah, we don't have to sign off here yet. We still have another minute here, but I never look if it's sunny outside, go out there and do that. We got fall weather here in Chicago, which I'm pretty stoked about. Or I'm sorry you got smacked, man. Tomorrow's another day. Let us know how we can help you with that. Stayed green on a choppy day, Shaka. That's what we want to hear. Great job. I haven't managed to stay green here. Swing account down a little bit, but it's basically flat.
Best grass butchering of the season on deck. All right.
What's that?
Just Fairchild. SMR. This one's losing 11.25, going down to VWAP.
SMR.
Yeah, and LASC is trying to time it.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us here today. Once again, thanks everyone for being so great. I really appreciate the calls. 13 and I are going to be back at this again tomorrow. I am going to send you over to Trader Bacon. 13, take care of yourself.
Bye, folks.
And folks, I will see you tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe.